Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Maaike. Today's video is going to be my makeup wish list. And the reason for that is that I am yet again not in tune with new makeup releases this month. I wasn't last month. I'm not again this month. Yeah, I haven't even gone through Instagram to see if there's anything out there that I might like to talk about in a new releases makeup video. So that's why I thought I could talk instead about what's actually on my wish list and what I'm actually hoping to purchase, because even though I haven't been watching a lot of new makeup releases, what I have been watching is eyeshadow palette collection videos. Because if there's one thing, my favorite thing to watch on YouTube is a good eyeshadow palette collection video. In fact, I have a playlist with some of my favorites. And something you need to know about my wish list is that it's just a running document that I keep on my computer. These are not products that I'm going to be buying tomorrow or next month. The way I space out my makeup purchases is that I have this wish list, to watch out for products that may be currently out of stock, but also to sort of know, and like every month I pick and choose a few items that I would like to purchase, and then I move on to the next month. Let's just get cracking on these, well, mainly eyeshadow palettes, because you know that's my vice. So the first thing that's on the list are some Cleona shadows. I tried Cleona last year. I think August was the first time I got some of their stained glass stuff, and when they restocked in January, I just completely missed out on it. I was going to buy a few things, but then it didn't really line up with my budget, and I had already spent the money I wanted to spend for that month when they released them, and I was like, oh, maybe I can get them in a few days. And then everything had sold out, and now they're doing this pre-order system. But currently one of the items I would like to get is out of stock, so I'm not going to be buying this until everything is in stock again, and if they know again when they will be shipping. But at some point in the future, I would like to get some more stained glass shadows. I would like to get Crown Glass, Smolder, Gothic, Gargoyle, Ripple, Opulent, Shard, Royalty, and Gloaming. And the thing that is currently out of stock that I would like to get is their Koala set. So this winter they started doing a 3-piece cool tone shadow set to help with the bushfire relief fund in Australia, and that is currently out of stock. I asked them on Instagram whether it's going to be back. They say it's going to be back, they just don't know yet when. That's why I sometimes just get more in one go in order to make it just a bit more affordable. Then a brand I would like to get some new stuff by is Zoeva. I haven't purchased anything from Zoeva in about a year. They haven't really been coming out with any new eyeshadow palettes, I feel, but their little 6-pan Precious palette is one that I would like to try. It's a bit expensive. It only has 6 shades, but it still retails for like 18 euros. Whereas their larger, like 10-pan palettes retail for 23. So I'm like, what is this formula this spectacular that they are going to be, I don't know, super stunning eyeshadows and they're suddenly more expensive? But one thing that Zoeva has been focusing on other than eyeshadow is complexion products. And I would like to try their foundation and concealer. I'm not sure yet what shade. I can only order these online, which always makes me nervous. But I would like to purchase their foundation and their concealer maybe next month. I'm not sure, but again, this has been one of those things that has been on my wish list for months, and I just haven't gotten around to making the purchase because I keep prioritizing other things. So not sure when I will get it, but at some point I will get myself some more Zoeva goodies. And I've heard that the Zoeva foundation is very similar to the Anastasia Luminous foundation, and that's a foundation I still want to try. I checked it out when I was in New York, and then at that moment I picked the Fenty Hydrating Foundation over the Anastasia Luminous one, but I still want to try the Anastasia one. And since it's comparable to the Zoeva one, from what I've heard, I thought I could, if I have both of them, I could do a video where I compare each side and see if they are actually similar. Who knows? And then Dior has come out with their iconic pink blush. I'm not sure what it's called. I'll make sure to put up a picture on the screen. They have had a very vibrant, like hot pink blush in their collection for years. And it's a self-adjusting shade or whatever it is. So it's supposed to look differently on lots of different people. And it's a blush that I've been wanting to get. ever since my first makeup days. So I've been wanting to get that blush for like a decade. I just never purchased it because Dior always put it in a compact with a brush, giving you like this much product. But now for their new backstage line, they are doing it as just a compact with blush. So finally, I feel like you may be still getting the same amount of product. I don't care. It just doesn't have that wasteful little bit where there's a brush that you won't use. I think it's still the same product. I think they've just re-released it for this backstage line that they're doing. I would like to get myself that Dior blush because I think it will be very lovely on my fair skin to have this really nice, bright, like neon pink shade. That's just something I can get down with. Another brand that I would like to get some complexion products by is Benefit. Their Hello Happy foundation. I tried 2 of them last fall. I had 2 minis, the Flawless Brightening and the other one in like the plasticky thing. And the one in the plasticky thing, which was more lightweight and supposed to do less, was looking really, really good on me. It was such a lovely foundation that I actually want to commit and buy the full size of it because I'm loving it. It really reminds me of the Chanel Vita Lumiere Aqua that I used to love and have. And I used that one up completely and I've never repurchased it because it's just so expensive, and the Benefit one is still expensive, but not as expensive as Chanel. I would like to try that. And they also have that concealer with that looks like a like it has an eraser at the top. I think it looks really fun, and it's supposed to be very like full coverage concealer, so not necessarily my cup of tea, but I would like to try that Benefit concealer because I don't know why. Benefit was way back in the day when I first started out with makeup. Most of my makeup collection was actually Benefit products, and I've really been sort of trying more of their products again in the past year, and so far I'm really loving some of the new products that they've come out with, so that's why I'm super excited to try that concealer. Then I would like to get a backup of a perfume that I love, which is Balenciaga's Flora Botanica. I have a 50 ml bottle and there's like already like this much out of it, and it just makes me nervous because this perfume is currently super difficult to find in regular stores, but I found an online drugstore where they sell it, and I'm thinking, should I just not commit and buy this perfume in the largest bottle so that I just have it on hand? But you know, that to me, like, that to me is just a bit wasteful. Like, I don't like buying backups because what if you stop liking a product in the meantime? It's just that with that Flora Botanica perfume, if I had to pick a signature scent, that would be it. That's my favorite all-time scent. And it also, like, I already went through a full 30 ml bottle. I'm like a third of the way through my 50 ml bottle, and I'm still liking it. I'm still not sick of it. It's why I have, in my perfumes, I have a lot of like smaller bottles because I usually get fed up with a fragrance before I end up using it up. So that's why I'm like, should I just buy the 100 ml bottle? So this is again one of those products. This has been on my wish list for like a year and a half. And I don't commit because I'm like, it's wasteful, so I don't want to get it. But it's like, yeah, if I have a bit of extra money, I might as well just purchase it. So who knows? Maybe in the next few months, I finally bite the bullet. Then I am going to, hopefully sometime in the next few months, buy myself the Lorac Pro 4. I have the Lorac Pro 1, 2, and 3. I love the Lorac formula. The Lorac Pro 3 is one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow palettes. And I found out that Lorac Pro 4, or Lorac as a brand, not all of the products, but especially the eyeshadow palettes, are available through iHerb, which ships internationally. So yay, I can finally get my hands on Lorac from where I live. So that's why I'm thinking of buying those 2 products, but at least the Pro 4, the Pro 3 backup, I may want to hold off on. But there's also lots of like new, like exciting eyeshadow palette. Now I think everything we're now going to get through is eyeshadow palettes. Shroud Cosmetics Arcana palette. Shroud Cosmetics is the new name of Strobe Cosmetics. I own their Creepy Cute palette and I really like the quality of it. The Arcana palette is more jewel tones, and I love jewel tones in the fall time. So I'm just like, I need that. And so I thought I could make that purchase at some point. Then I also have 2 very un-me palettes. on my wish list. And I only added them the other day after seeing all of these people's eyeshadow palette collections. And the reason why they're very on me is because they are very big, and I don't like really big palettes. I have no way to store them. I don't know what, and that's why they like sort of end up like sitting next to my storage, and then I forget about them. So I would much rather just have palettes that fit into my storage that are a bit more nice and curated. But Jeffree Star Bloodlust, that color story, even though there are 6 shades that are light and almost identical, like taupery kind of shades, the color story still draws me in. By this time, I can say I've been eyeing up that palette for the past 2 months. When it comes back in stock, I know I will be purchasing it, because it's just really like, it's got that teal and that shimmering red, and there are so many unique shades in it. And I now have a couple of Jeffree Star palettes, and especially his more recent ones have had pretty good quality. So I would like to own that palette, even though it's big and bulky. I think I will just keep it in the outer box so the velvet doesn't get screwed up. I think that that's what I will do. That's just gonna have to happen. And the other large palette that I would like to get, the Glamlite Cake palette. People have been telling me to try Glamlite for like months now, and people are saying, you will really like the Taco palette, and I know, like, that color story looks super duper nice. It's just that big and bulky packaging and really gimmicky with all like that burger palette that just comes in this like squishy. I get why people like it, and I really want to try the formula. It's just that none of the color stories they did so far, to me, were unique enough compared to other things I already own. But that cake palette with that lime green in the right hand bottom corner, I want it. And then it's got those pinks and purples in the middle. I don't own any of the other like pinky purple palettes that people have been raving about. I don't have that Smoky Glow Midas Cosmetics palette. I'm not planning on getting that. I don't have the Strawberry Dream palette by Lunar Beauty. Maybe Bloodlust has a bit of that pink and purple, but I think that that Glamlite palette has the pink and purple, then it's got a matte lime green, it's got some really interesting blues and green shimmers as well. It has a really really nice few like shimmers on the complete like left hand side of the palette, which are more warm toned. And one thing my collection still really needs is really good colorful shimmers, because I feel that a lot of colorful palettes are all matte. And so I think this birthday cake or cake palette thing can add something to my collection that is a bit more unique, plus it gets me to try Glamlite. So that's my reason for putting it on my wish list. Then Juvia's Place hasn't really come out with anything since the Nomad that I was really intrigued by. I keep umming and ahhing about their Nubian 3 Coral palette, but only because it has 4 of those like charcoal grays at the top that look super flaky, so I'm not sure whether I want to get that. The only palette that Juvia's Place has come out with that truly like sort of like went to the top of my wish list the minute I saw it was their Violets palette. That little 6-pan purple palette that I want to get. It's just that they haven't come out with anything since that I'm like, I want to get that. And buying just that palette from Juvia's Place is a bit too expensive for me, and it's not yet available on Beauty Bay. So I'm sort of holding out for Juvia's to come out with something else that's a bit more interesting before, so that I can do like a, you know, and especially if they then do a sale, and if then one of those palettes is on sale, then altogether it usually plays out and I can make it work. So I'm gonna hold off on the Juvia's Place palette for a while, but they do sale so often, and I think that maybe May or June, that's usually a time that Juvia's Place launches some new products. So at least they did last year and the year before that. So I think they'll have some sort of summer release coming out in the next few months. If that is interesting enough, I might be able to combine that and then get those together. Another indie brand I would like to get something by, and again that I've held off of putting on my wish list for a while, is Menagerie Cosmetics. Their Killer Purr palette that they came out with over the fall time. It has a really interesting teal, but I wasn't really interested in anything else at the time, apart from their little violet ink palette. But now they've released a Pastel Pop, and even though I think the picture in the front with that little seal, baby seal in the front, it just scares the bejeebies out of me. Like, it just does. I think it's a bit of a creepy picture. So I don't really like the outer packaging, but the inside is like a full rainbow of pastels. I need that in my life. And I think that just for good measure, if I'm buying from Menagerie, I might as well just throw in the whale song as well. Their palettes are super heavy and shipping is super expensive from Menagerie. So again, it pays off to put a couple of things into the same order because altogether it makes it cheaper in the end. Because I would really much like to try the whale song as well because it's a blue-green palette. And a lot of people are saying it's better than the Oceanic and it's better than the Certify Affinity 2. And I really like the Menagerie palettes that I tried last year. I tried their Dragon Child from when they were still Makeup Monsters, which is now discontinued. And I tried the Feral, and I love their color stories. I really, really like it. She has an eye for color stories that are unique, that you look at and you go like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then you put it on your eyes and magic happens. So I would like to get some more Menagerie. I definitely do. Then a palette that I've been seeing a lot of people featuring in their pastel like videos. Everybody's doing like spring palettes. And Nomad Cosmetics is an indie brand I haven't tried yet. And they have a Tokyo Harajuku palette, which has pastels and like in different textures. That's intriguing to me. It's currently out of stock. It's going to take at least 2 months for it to come back, it says. So I won't be buying this anytime soon. But this is definitely one that I put on the wish list. I'm like, yeah, that would be a brand I would like to try, and I had a look at their website, and this is the only palette they currently have on offer that really sort of intrigues me. So I wanted to try a couple of new indie brands this year as well. A lot of the ones that I put on my like 2020 wish list, when I started looking into them really, they didn't really spark my interest. So that's why I'm sort of sticking to, you know, brands that I already know for the most part, but then Glamlite would be new and Nomad would be new. So then perhaps I've tried a bit more. And another new brand that I would like to try, so that's a third one that wasn't originally on my wish list for 2020, but that's Persona Cosmetics. I wanted to get the Identity 1 palette when I was in the US, but when I went to Ulta, it wasn't there. Like, they only had the 2, and I was like, I really want the 1, and I had already spent quite a bit of money. I was like, oh, just let it be. And I cannot buy from Ulta where I live. Like, Ulta website is closed to people in Europe. Like, it just reads your IP address and you get like access denied. So I can't even browse the website. But then I was like, maybe they have an official website. And they do. And guess what? That official website ships internationally. Yes! So I think in order to make it worth it, I would have to get the 1 and the 2 in one go. And I think that they even do free international shipping over like a certain amount of money. So I may want to try that because then, like, if it depends on how it all plays out, sometimes getting another product is cheaper than actually paying the shipping. So maybe I want to try Persona Cosmetics as a brand, and maybe I'll just get those 2 eyeshadow palettes. They're not cheap. I thought they would be more affordable. I thought they were like around the $25 mark, but they're more like $39. Well, so Persona Cosmetics is one that I would like to try. Again, not sure when I will be trying this, but at some point in the future, I would like to place an order with them. And then I would like to try some more Viseart. I've decided that now that they're doing those palettes where there are mattes and shimmers in one palette, that I would like to try some more Viseart. I have their Sultry Muse, which is all shimmer, and there are a few shades in there that I really like, but as a standalone palette, I'm not reaching for it. I'm not reaching for it. In fact, it's one of my least used palettes, and I almost decluttered it, like it's a whole thing. But yeah, it is lovely quality. And then I spotted on Beauty Bay that they do the Petite Pro 3, and that, I was like, that's my shades. It's got 4 neutrals, and then it's got like 2 like purpley shades and 2 green shades on the end. So it's 8 shades, really, really small, very curated, and it's got a full row of mattes and a full row of shimmers. I'm like, that's completely up my street. And for Viseart, I mean, buying one of those little palettes, it's a bit more affordable than getting one of those like plasticky, makeup-y, artisty thing that comes with a ton of product, which is why it's so expensive. But that Petite Pro 3 has me intrigued. And then I was actually watching Lacey from Spooky Lips and Fat Hips. She was doing her highlighter collection, and she showed Melt's Morning Star. And she said it's very similar to one of the Makeup Geek highlighters that I missed out on, but that has like a sheer, more transparent base with a peach flip. And if you saw my highlighter decoder, you know how I feel about peachy toned highlighters. And I was like, I need that ASAP. Both Viseart and Melt are available on Beauty Bay, so I think that if Beauty Bay is doing like some sort of sale in the future, maybe if these products are included, then I might place an order. Not anytime soon, I'm sure, but that highlighter looked right up my street. And then a palette that I wasn't going to get because it was released last fall, but now that it's spring, summer, I'm like, Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde, where have you been? I think that one of the reasons why I didn't buy it for like the Christmas season, because it was a Christmas release, it just, the color story didn't really go with the time of year. Like those kind of shades, I tend to like now. So now it suddenly like really sparks my interest, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, Mercury Retrograde, I would like to try that. So I think this is one that I might get actually quite soon in like the next few months, because I really like Huda Beauty quality overall, and I have a ton of her small palettes and the Desert Dusk, so I know I like the formula, and just the color story is really appealing to me now that it's spring, summer. Am I weird? I don't know. So that's the Mercury Retrograde. Colourpop. Now that I've tried all 10 of my monochromatic colorful eyeshadow palettes, I'm like, down. I need more Colourpop eyeshadow in my life. I don't. I really don't. I have a bunch of singles. I have 10 monochromatic palettes and the Dream Street, so I really don't need any more Colourpop. But I didn't try any of the more neutral toned monochromatic palettes. So the Going Coconuts. Everybody has been saying it's like cool toned to neutral, so you know that I have to try that. Making Mauves. Mauves. Like if something says mauves, I need to try it. So that I need to try. And when I placed my last Colourpop order, I was going to buy this, and then I decided in the end that there was enough in my cart, so I took this out. But the Flutterby, like, that is looking stunning. And it does have a pressed glitter, like, kind of thing, and it's super shock. But I haven't tried any of, like, the newer, like, 12-pan palettes that Colourpop does. So I think that that could be a good one to try, so that I have more, like, neutrally Colourpop shades. Not sure yet. I'm actually hoping that when Colourpop reopens that they'll do a sale. I hope so. Maybe I'll keep these on here until Black Friday, like I did with the monochromatic palettes. I had those on my wish list for like ever since the Just My Luck was released, which was March 2019. Yeah. So I waited 8 months to buy those. So that's sort of how this whole wish list thing works for me, okay? I definitely do not plan on buying all of this in one go. That would be crazy. And then a brand that I didn't expect I was ever going to buy anything from, but they have come out with some interesting things, and that would be Violet Voss. Violet Voss is available on Beauty Bay. It just takes ages for their newer releases to come to Beauty Bay, like with Juvia's Place actually. So I would like to buy their Sweet Violet and their Sugar Crystals palette. The Sweet Violet, again, because it's a nicely curated, like purpley palette, I would like to try that. This for the same reason why I want to try the Juvia's Place, the Violets palette, and the Violet Ink by Menagerie. I think that could be a video comparing those three once I have all three. It's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while. But also that Sugar Crystals palette, I heard people talking about it and I just couldn't find it anywhere, but it is available on their official website and they ship internationally. So I think if I buy at least like for just one palette, I sometimes think like, oh, is it worth it? But then if I can get the two things, and that Sweet Violet palette is their fun size, so it's a mini palette. So that's not too big. So maybe I should just like try some more, because I have the hashtag palette, and even though I quite like the quality of those shadows, I just thought they were quite expensive for how expensive the palette was. Like, they're not as good as I would expect because the hashtag palette was like 55 euros. But the Sugar Crystals is like 42 and the Sweet Violet is like 18. So, and I do like the quality, perhaps if the quality of the hashtag is in those palette for that price point, then I might like it a bit better. And then bougie options. I tend to only buy like a super expensive like Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath palette once a year. Like that's like a once a year kind of thing where I go like, okay, I'm just gonna do like a bit of a blowout this month and here we go. So I do have 3 Pat McGrath palettes on my wish list, and one of these palettes has been on my wish list since Christmas, and that's the Ritualistic Rose Blitz Astral Quad. I bought one of them when I was in New York, but by the time I was gone, this one was released. So they had 3 for Christmas, and they released 2 at first, and then the third one came out like a week later. And so I was gone by the time this came out, and Pat McGrath is not for sale anywhere where I live, apart from the Sephora website in France. So I would like to get that. I found it actually on the official Pat McGrath website. It's back in stock, apparently. And those quads are like 60 euros, so they're not super expensive, but for 4 shades, it's expensive. So Ritualistic Rose I would like to get, but I would also like to try one of those like Mothership larger palettes, which retail for like 125 euros. It's insane. But a lot of the color stories just didn't really appeal to me. Like the overall color story of the palette, there would be like 3 shades that I liked. If there's only 3 shades that I like, I'm not going to spend 125 euros on a palette. I'm not. But the Subliminal one, I think it's called, it's the cool toned one with this like very sort of like icy packaging. That, I don't know why, but that really, really appeals to me. They also have like a 6-pan like mini version of it, which is called like Bronze Taupe or so, I'm not sure. But also like the Subliminal in like the 6 pans, that really appeals to me as well. But the 6-pan that appeals to me the most is the Subversive La Vie en Rose. Those like berries and purples, I really would like to try that. And those 6 pans I believe are also like around the 60 euro mark. So again, not something I'm gonna buy all at once. But maybe first the Ritualistic Rose quad, and then maybe the Subliminal more around Christmas time, or you know, so you know, those like treat yourself kind of moments. Maybe it's going to be my birthday present to myself. Who knows? So yeah, Pat McGrath, I would like to try some more palettes because that quad, it's got me lusting for more. Those shades were so unique. They were difficult to work with. Like I needed glitter glue for them to not go all over the place, which for such expensive eyeshadow, I was a bit on the fence. I really, really like the look that I created with just those 4 shades. And I think that if I have a few of her mattes that can really play well with a lot of the different things that I would then have, I can really sort of hopefully really try to amp these up and really make them work. And then last but not least, my final thing on my wish list is the Natasha Denona Biba palette. And this is a neutral palette. It's super boring, but I loved my gold palette so much that I'm like, okay, if she does neutrals this well, and I haven't really tried a lot of neutrals, like I've been more into like colorful things and like purples and blues and greens. Like blue, green, and purple was like the color scheme of 2019 for me, and especially the blues and the greens. And this year it's going to be more like pinks and purples, I think. So yeah, just a good neutral, you know, just to keep us going. I would like to try that. I would very much like to try that. And Natasha Denona I can get from like different retailers, so that should be no problem. I could just like plan it in. Again, once a year kind of thing. Yeah, that's everything that's currently on my wish list. A lot of eyeshadow palettes. What else is new? If you've been with me for a while, then you know. Like eyeshadow palettes, that's my vice. That's what I look out for the most. It's what I buy most of. It's what I try most. I buy these to create content with, right? So in the end, they'll end up on my blog, but I'm very behind on my blog. But yeah, if there's anything in particular that you would like to see, then make sure you stay tuned for August, because then we will be doing a lot of eyeshadow palette related videos again. But I tend to do like 2 or 3 eyeshadow palette related videos on this channel every month anyway. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a bit rambly and random perhaps, but ooh, sometimes you just need them, right? We're just here to chat about makeup, and especially in these times, just have a bit of lightheartedness and just talk. You know, that's why I come on here and make these videos. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make 3 new videos a week on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!